Welcome to the Fantasy Football Profit Podcast, hosted by Craig Phillips and Jeff Torrey. Visit us at fantasyfootballprofit.com. And now your host.
Welcome everyone
Craig
to the
and
Fantasy Football Profit Podcast. I'm Craig Phillips, joined as always by Jeff Torrey. Today we're talking week 15 around, I think week 15. Are we in week 15, Jeff? I don't even know anymore. It's a lot of weeks. I think it's week 15. Recap, playoffs, fantasy football playoffs today. I had a couple playoff matchups. I should win one. And the other one's not looking too promising. Taysom Hill's not coming through for me, which is disappointing. Jeff, I don't even know if you had any playoffs this year. It's been disappointing, hasn't it?
It's been a long year. I'm ready for it to be over. But yeah, I think the only thing that's going to happen is I think my dynasty team is going to put up a good fight, probably to give John
that's right. You don't even
really good pick.
You don't even get your pick. So we have our dynasty league has the toilet bowl basically is for the winner of the toilet bowl gets the number one pick, but Jeff traded his away. So you might get the number one pick and then have to give it away. I don't think next year is the biggest year there's not this huge prospects next year. So it's a good year to get rid of it. You got Najee Harris out of it.
Yeah, it should be fine, but I would laugh if I ended up winning him the number one pick.
All right, let's jump. Yeah. let's talk some. Let's see what went on today in the NFL. First up, Bills, Panthers. Bills get the 31-14 win. Pretty simple. That's about what you expect. Josh Allen, 210 yards, threw for 3 touchdowns. Devin Singletary, 22 carries, 86 yards, a touchdown. Zach Moss is a healthy scratch again. Devin Singletary really has taken over completely there. Like we thought a year and a half ago, but finally happening. Gabriel Davis, 5 catches, 85 yards, 2 touchdowns. If you followed us on Instagram this morning, you could see that I put him in my DraftKings lineup. So won me some money having Gabe Davis on the team, him and Josh Allen. So that was a good little combo. Dawson Knox 4 for 38. Diggs only 4 for 35, but he got himself a touchdown. So pretty much what you expect from a Bills Panthers game, right? Panthers side of things, Cam Newton's not very good anymore necessarily, but he runs the ball well. He was 18 of 38, 156, a touchdown, a pick, but he had 15 carries, 71 yards, and a touchdown. He is their main back at this point. Chuba Hubbard 8 for 40, and it's not going to be great with Cam Newton there, to be honest, with fantasy. Amir Abdullah had 4 for 48 and a touchdown. DJ Moore 6 for 48. Robbie Anderson 3 for 29. So there we go. Fun game. Not much to add, huh, Jeff?
No. I mean, I wish there was nuggets of knowledge I could drop, but we all know where we're at now.
Yep. Next up, Lions Cardinals. What the heck happened here? Lions win 30-12. What's this?
Did I not call this last week or last podcast? I was like, don't worry, they'll win 2 more and they'll, hurt their chances at a better draft pick.
Yeah.
And you go out and you beat someone like the Cardinals, which makes no sense, does not help anyone. But whatever.
But it's you know what? They're playing for Dan Campbell. Yeah, I'll say that. They're playing for that guy. They haven't given up. So I guess you got that. I mean, Goff, 21 of 26, 216, 3 touchdowns. Pretty solid. Craig Reynolds comes off the practice squad. 2nd week in a row, he's done well. This time 26 carries, 112 yards. Last week in his first action, he had 11 for 83. This guy's played pretty well in two opportunities here. He's a good play next week. If you're hurting and you're in the play, if you're still going, but I don't know why you just don't, you've been piecing together running backs. Craig Reynolds against Atlanta, maybe, unless, because I don't think Swift's coming back. So, and even if Williams is back, I just don't know. This guy's got himself an opportunity, I feel like, here. So just pay attention to it. It's hard to say. There's COVID everywhere. There's injury. It's a tough time of year to predict, but he's a name to look at. Amon-Ra St. Brown has really come on here too. 8 catches, 90 yards, and a touchdown. Follows up last week's 8 for 73, which in the week before, 10 for 86 and a touchdown. Targets 12, 12, and 11 those last 3 games. Playing really well.
It took longer than we thought, but he finally got there. I feel like this entire season has been the teams are finally getting to the point where we thought what was going to happen is happening to all these young players. And it's too bad that you can't really get too much use out of them.
Yep.
But, it's interesting information going into next year. And how are you going to, a lot of this will be forgotten. And I know a lot of things are going to change on bad teams such as Detroit, but this is one to kind of put in the back of your mind and say, I could probably grab this guy pretty late, and he had a very strong showing at the end. Let's see what he's got, because I highly doubt they're going to restructure the wide receiving core all that much because they got so many other things to do. So Amon-Ra St. Brown he's an interesting young prospect now.
Yep, definitely. And Josh Reynolds was 6 for 68 and a touchdown. He's been solid pickup for them as well. Cardinals, ugly day for them. Kyler, 23 of 41, 257, touchdown and a pick. Chase Edmonds, 6 carries, 53 yards. Connor, 8 carries, 39 yards. Just couldn't get the ground game going because they got down. Christian Kirk, 9 for 94 and a touchdown. Ertz, 6 for 74, and AJ Green, 4 for 64. But just an odd showing there for sure. From the worst team versus the best team. Just not what you expect. All right, how about Dolphins, Jets? Dolphins started the year 1-7, and now they are 7-7 with 6 straight wins to beat the Jets 31-24. Tua has been solid lately, I guess. 196 yards, but 2 touchdowns. Keeps being solid there. The surprise here, Duke Johnson. Didn't expect to see Duke Johnson game here, but Myles Gaskin had COVID and didn't get a chance to play or practice much, so they didn't want to. I guess basically they just didn't want to throw him into it. He had 10. Gaskin was 10 for 54, but Duke Johnson 22 carries, 170 yards, and 2 touchdowns. We had high hopes for Duke Johnson years ago. Never happened. This is the best I've ever seen him, and probably won't happen again. It's probably a 1 week thing.
Yeah, it probably won't. But it's always what would he do if he was going to be the primary back? You never really got to see it, but he's one of those names that will always float around. And I have the same feeling that you're going to see his name flash for next week or the week after, and you're going to kind of think about it. But for me, it's still far too dangerous. But you never know. You never know.
Also, Devonte Parker caught 4 for 68 and a touchdown. Gesicki 5 for 43 for the Jets. Zach Wilson, 13 of 23, 170 yards, no touchdowns, no picks. He ran one in though for a touchdown. Michael Carter came back in this one from injury, but only had 8 carries for 18 yards. Just not much fantasy here at all. Braxton Berrios ran a touchdown in, and Zach Wilson ran a touchdown in. That's what their rushing touchdowns were. So and they had a pick 6 as well. So not much offense going there. How about Cowboys Giants? Again, just not much offense going on here. It was just Cowboys just beat them. Just didn't have to do much. 21-6. There's a lot of bad teams that you just don't put any offense up, like the Giants. They're just, with Mike Glennon out there, nothing's going to happen. So Cowboys 28 of 37 for Dak, 217 a touchdown. It's not a great fantasy day because they didn't need to, which is frustrating. I played him in a league and I had him going for me in a league. He just didn't do anything. Pollard 12 of 74, Zeke 6 of 16 carries, 52 yards, and a touchdown. Dalton Schultz led the way with 8 catches for 67 yards, a touchdown. CeeDee Lamb 6 for 50, Gallup 3 for 32, and you get Mari Cooper with a 2 for 8. Disappointing there. I mean, that's a Mari Cooper for you, I guess.
I mean, all around. I mean, it really has been. There's been a few guys that have really put up numbers this week, but man, it is. I don't know. I don't. It feels very strange. First of all, it is the playoffs right now in the majority of fantasy football, and this has got to be kind of a brutal week to watch. It's going to be the have and have-nots for sure. There's not, the parity that we always talk about. Yeah, sure, the Lions beat them, but other than that, it is exactly what you think is going to be. And even someone like Saquon that you were hoping would come out strong. And if you have him, you're probably not in the playoffs, but who knows? He might have came back for you. And, there's just nothing there. 15 carries, 50 yards, and, 4 for 24. So I guess not the end of the world.
He had one awesome catch, but there was only, just he's on a good player on a bad team. It's frustrating not to be able to see anything from Saquon. But with Mike Glennon out there, what are you going to do? Glennon throws for 99 yards and 3 picks. It's just ugly. It's just ugly. You can see there's some teams that just like giving up on the year. Giants being one of them. And then you got something like, that's where the Lions to me are almost impressive in a way that they haven't given up at all. Like the Giants don't seem to care. A lot of teams just don't seem to care, but
yeah. Well, we haven't gotten to them yet, but the Texans, I mean, them and the Jaguars playing is hilarious to me.
Yep.
Perfect time for fantasy season. Yeah. But yeah, at least they are, at least we didn't jump over them as well. And when I say we, I mean the Lions. Somehow I still reflect on them.
How about Pittsburgh, Tennessee, 19-13 matchup here.
Another one. I mean,
nothing happening.
People you think are going to do really well, and you get 19 points for Pitt, and you're kind of like, okay, someone's had to have done something. No, Ben Roethlisberger rushes one in, and that is their only offensive touchdown. So no one gets points.
Najee Harris has 26 total yards.
Brutal.
Deontay Johnson, 5 catches for 38 yards. Claypool, no catches for 12 yards. Isn't that an interesting stat line?
Yeah.
No catches for 12 yards.
Yeah.
He got a lateral at some point. Just no offense, but they won.
Steelers they won.
And
then I laugh because almost the exact same thing on the other side, where Ryan Tannehill gets the rushing touchdown, but other than that, nada. I mean, I would say Deontay Foreman did have a good rushing game. He rushed 22 times for 108 yards. So there is that. So if you did play Deontay Foreman, you got rewarded. But other than that, this game was a wash as far as fantasy goes.
Julio played, got a target, got hurt, and come back.
Can you imagine? You're in desperate need. You're like, I'm gonna go for it. I'm gonna play Julio, and immediately gets hurt, and you're like, well, all right, I deserve
this.
That.
This feels like the end of Julio, doesn't it? It just really feels like this is. We've seen this before. We saw remember Andre Johnson. I just remember a great player that all of a sudden was just done, and it feels like maybe we're getting there with Julio. So
yeah, I mean injuries all year, and yeah, it's going to be very interesting to see what happens to Tennessee. Riding really, really high when Derrick Henry was still healthy, and now you're hoping they hold on and maybe get healthy down the stretch. But and that's one of those things. It's not going to help for fantasy. But if Julio can get healthy, I mean, who knows? Maybe they can make. It'll be kind of one of those things where he'll have a good couple of last games, and then you'll have to think about his name next year as well. I mean, I won't be, but you might.
Yeah, this is just a day of not much. The football wasn't great today for most. There was a couple of okay games, but for the most part, there isn't much here. Because next up is Texans, Jaguars.
Yeah, we can almost skip this game if it wasn't almost comical.
I mean, Brandon Cooks was relevant, 7 for 102 and 2 touchdowns. Great day for Brandon Cooks. Davis Mills. Okay, Davis Mills hasn't been a disaster. Yeah, I'll say that either. For the most part,
he's been okay on a very bad team.
Yeah, and so that's about what you can say. No, nothing. You're not playing any of these running backs, and Brandon Cooks is the only possible guy you're playing. If you did today, great. Good job.
It is funny as soon as they fire Urban Meyer that James Robinson goes back to getting 18 carries.
Yep, 18 carries, 75 yards, touchdown. So Robinson did well for you if you played him.
He did fine too.
It's been kind of cool to see Laquan Treadwell get another chance here in the NFL. He's actually been a decent player for these last 4 weeks. He's had total of 18 catches in 4 games, which isn't bad, but more than 50 yards in each of those games. So he's a contributor on a bad team, but hey, he's in the NFL, right?
Yeah, I actually agree with you. I think it is kind of a feel-good story in a certain way. I mean, it wasn't like he was injured or anything. He just was a bust, but I'm glad that he's getting in there and he's doing another, give me one more look kind of deal.
Yep.
Kind of like Perriman did or something last year.
Bengals Broncos 15-10. Yeah, just the fantasy output in this one, not great either. Burrow throws for 157 yards and a touchdown, so he didn't really help you much. Joe Mixon was 17 carries for 58 yards, 1 catch for 2 yards before he got hurt. So 60 total yards and nothing else. Tyler Boyd, hey, there's the one bright spot, 5 for 96, a touchdown. Jamar Chase, 1 catch for 3 yards for Jamar Chase. 1 catch for 3 yards.
Brutal. I mean, it really is brutal. The only thing that made me laugh as I was, checking in on this game and seeing the final stats is John's stupid voice ringing in our ears when he said, no, I'd still rather play Zach, because he goes, if and obviously Lamar didn't play, but he's like, if I have to pick between that possibility and Joe Burrow, give me Joe Burrow every time to play against. And I was like, why couldn't he just have a decent game?
I sent the link. I want to see if John would join in this thing. He's not going to, but I was going to tell him he was completely wrong and he should have wanted to play me this week. I told him
way,
my team was
fine.
So bad.
Yeah, either way, it would have been fine, but his thinking wasn't completely incorrect. And speaking of, Bridgewater, not any better on the other side, and
gets hurt again.
Yeah, gets hurt. And,
we got
devil, and he shall appear. Oh, the other one.
We got a visitor.
So he does get hurt. Drew Lock finishes out the game 6 for 12, 88 yards and a touchdown. Javonte Williams, 15 carries, 72 yards. Melvin Gordon, 15 for 53. So they split duties and do okay, but neither of them are going to get you a lot of fantasy points. And Tim Patrick, 3 for 42 and a touchdown. Other than Noah Fant, 5 for 57. I mean, that's really all there was. There wasn't a lot left to this game.
No, I still hate that split between Javonte and Melvin Gordon. I feel
Javonte is a very talented young player. We will see how much love they give him next year going into it.
If they give him the job, he's going to be top 10 back next year.
I would think that he's going to be pretty darn good.
Yep. All right. Trying to see if we can get somebody else. All right. Cool. Yeah. Fun. How about the next one? 49ers versus Atlanta. Another game where, 49ers did a few things, I guess.
Yeah, I was going to say, at least the 49ers put up a few points. If you played Russell Gage just to get Atlanta out of the way, because there wasn't a whole lot here, right? Matt Ryan wasn't going to do you a whole lot. Russell Gage, 8 for 91 and a touchdown. That's pretty good. Kyle Pitts, 4 for 77. Great. And I mean, once again, that's pretty much it. Those are the only people who are going to play anyway. So that's what they did. Cordero Patterson, I should say. Yeah,
just
a bad game.
23 yards total. He had a touchdown actually early. They reversed it, which looked like it was going to be a good day. Turns into nothing. Probably lost you some games if you had him in fantasy today. Not great at all for that. Yeah.
And jumping over to the 49ers, Debo Samuel is someone we talk about quite often because we can't figure out where to put him. Once again, great output. They even tried to throw it once with him. So he's the all around, Swiss Army knife. Try to throw with him. He had 6 carries for 29 and a touchdown. He had 4 catches for 60 yards. Debo keeps doing it. So he's going to make you really, really happy. I don't know. What do you make of that?
Well, he's got rushing touchdowns now in each of the last 5 games he's played, which is crazy. He only has in those last 4 games. He only has now. Well, after today's 4 catches, he has 7 catches in 4 games. He's not catching the ball enough, but at least today, 4 catches is something to work off of. It's a lot. I would be slightly like we talked about it when we did our rankings for wide receiver last week. And I just want more volume. That's 10 touches only. He's been awesome in this limited what he does, but I need more than 10 touches. I mean, you're playing him, but I want more than 10.
I was like, I don't know how to get away from the guy. And, he had there's only 3 guys that really had targets in this entire game. Kittle, obviously, he's going to have that 6 for him. Debo had 5 targets in the receiving game, and Jennings had 6 as well, and he ended up with the touchdown. So it's not like they're going away from him as far as a wide receiver. They just aren't throwing it nearly as much as you think they were going to. And it was a heavy rushing day, and we talked about Jeff Wilson as well. He had a very good day. He was the one that got the nod. And he had 21 carries, 110 yards, and a touchdown. It's very, very difficult to figure out how they're going to navigate as far as running the ball because Debo is involved. They could have gave it to Hasty more. He only had 1 carry. Elijah Mitchell obviously was out for the game. Do you see Jeff Wilson for the next couple of games, at least for fantasy football purposes, being a legitimate starter for you?
I've always thought he should have been, but he didn't do it for me the last few weeks, which sucked. But yeah. If there's Elijah Mitchell, throw Jeff Wilson in. You'll feel good about it for the most part. Wayne.
Yo, can you guys hear me?
I can.
Yeah.
All right. My mic wasn't working at first.
Man.
Honestly, it's been pretty sad since Thursday, and today didn't get any better. But the biggest salt in the wound was the Ingold text messages getting concerned over a couple Green Bay touchdowns. I'm like, fuck off.
Yeah, he's only projected to beat you by 54 right now.
I was like, you have 4 players left, and I'm targeted to tie your score you have now. Like that's what you're worried about because I might get 2 points over what you have right now. Yeah, that was the most depressing day. The most depressing part of the day wasn't. I mean, after Thursday, thinking I'm ready to fucking go. 8 minutes left to go in the 4th quarter. I'm winning this thing. 60 points later in the end of that game in OT. Yeah, I mean, I knew the tight end differential was the matchup, right? It was, everything. If you looked at all the projections, right, and just looked how you felt. The teams were pretty evenly matched except for the tight end, and 30-3, definitely the difference there.
Yeah, it looked like, so for the listeners here, Wayne was going against Patrick Mahomes, Tyreek Hill, and Travis Kelce, and it was looking great. It was looking
glorious.
Oh, it was looking awesome for you.
For 3 quarters, you look like you're going to walk away with it.
Man, you're just like, oh, this is it.
It's
It's over after Thursday, and you're going to win. And then it was over after Thursday, and you had no shot.
Gonna lose, exactly.
In one quarter. It was brutal how that finished. Chiefs haven't played like that all year. They decided to do it in one quarter. And just
the Chargers giving up that many points. I mean, they don't have a great defense, but they've been playing good football, and just to see that kind of collapse on their side too
was rough.
Pretty shitty.
I went against Kelce in another league, and it was a rough feeling. I think I'm going to lose just because of that. 31.1 in standard. Jeez, 40 like in PPR. It's 41.1 in PPR. Jeez.
Hey, shout out to Andrews though. He had a hell of a day today. Of
Yeah,
all the kind of middling fantasy results, he was a pretty nice spot.
Yeah, there just wasn't. Yeah, Andrews 25.6 in standard, so 35.6 in PPR. Jeez, that's a massive day as well. But there really wasn't a lot of other great fantasy performances out there. Not a lot. I mean, I guess we had one more game we hadn't got to here, Jeff. It was the Packers and Ravens. So you could say Tyler Huntley. That was a pretty good fantasy day.
Yeah, I mean, if you played him, good for you.
I don't think many people did.
But you would have.
I mean, outside of 2 quarterback leagues, who's getting Huntley in there? I guess if your league puts a lot of quarterbacks on the bench, you might have been stuck right with Lamar out.
But Huntley was rostered in. Hey, we got another visitor. Huntley was rostered in 3.5% of leagues. That's it. So I don't. That's just rostered.
How many was he start?
Let's find this out. I got to find this out.
Yeah, because I want to know that the daredevil that put him in and just is reaping the reward right now.
Well, 2 QB leagues would have put him in at least. So that's probably 2 QB.
Yeah. So just numbers wise, 215 yards passing for 2 touchdowns, and then he rushes for 73 yards and another 2 touchdowns. So big game for him. He was Mark Andrews, 10 for 136 and 2 touchdowns. Marquise Brown, 10 catches and 40 for only 43 yards. But if you had him in a PPR, he's still fine.
Yeah, he was started in 1.9% of leagues, and I guarantee those are like almost all 2 QB leagues.
2% are 2BQ leagues. So yeah. I'm making that setup, but I bet a lot of them are.
All right. Yeah, so that was actually the only decent game I would say of the day. One of the best ones is Packers Ravens. Ravens go for 2-point conversion there at the end to try to win this thing, and they don't get it. People are gonna second guess Harbaugh, but I think it's the right move. I mean,
more teams need to start doing that.
One play to try to win.
Back them up.
Yeah, one play you try to win the game.
Yeah. Well, I think I like this because I truly think that he was reading how the game was going, and he's saying, look, Green Bay is an excellent team. They're better than us. We're in this. We're right there at the end. Let's take our shot. I like this. I like our odds doing this rather than going into OT. And I would agree with him on this one because people are going to be talking about this. They're going to be talking about the Chargers. They're going to be talking about, how do you look at statistical analysis and when to go for what, right? 4th downs, 2-point conversions, all that stuff. So I know this is going to be kind of thrown into that, but I do think this was a different scenario. I think this was reading the tea leaves, if you will, and saying, I don't think we really have a great shot outside of this. I saw this on on halftime of Sunday Night Football that showed if they had made that 2-point conversion, they had a 79% chance of making the playoffs. If they had made that 2-point conversion by missing it, they only have a 50% chance of making the playoffs now. It's still a 50-50.
50-50 get in the playoffs. So yeah, that's.
But to your point, more teams need to look at these 2-point conversions. More teams need to look at letting people score. I mean, you can learn a little bit from playing a couple of video games. Not that I've played an NFL game in a while, but these things happen, right? And you have 0% chance. I was explaining to Macy why they shouldn't stop. I don't remember what game it was the other day, but I was like, yeah, it was college. And I was like, they have 0% chance if the guy doesn't score. They have a very, very tiny chance if the guy does score, but they now have a chance because they can get the touchdown, they get the onside. Yes, there's a minute and 27 seconds remaining, and but it's not 0, right? Whereas if you just let the clock run out, it is 0.
Yep. Well, pretty much the same thing happened last night in the Colts Patriots game when Jonathan Taylor broke that touchdown. It was actually not good for the Patriots, but it was better that he scored than he didn't. They didn't do anything with it, but that was their only shot. And it was good for me in one fantasy league. So I was very happy about that. I was actually going against Nick who I see he's on. I don't know if he's actually on here, but I see his name. But I was going against him in that league, and he probably was not too happy about it. So it was wonderful. Yeah, there's a lot. So we've gone through almost all these games so far, and there's actually yet 4 games yet to play this week.
What a weird week.
It's on top of the games, just there's only a few that really matter for fantasy. It feels like the other weird part is everything else that's going on around it. I mean, I don't know, for the guys that are in it. I mean, it probably hasn't ruined yours because I think you guys were able to field the full rosters, and half your team was on Green Bay, Wayne. I know half of the other guys was in KC. But is it losing the luster going into the playoffs, or has it been no big deal for you guys?
Well, it's been a little weird just because the way the game on Thursday played out, but most of the guys I'm playing against either played Thursday or Monday, Tuesday. So it's like today was nothing for the team I was playing. Luckily, he just scored everything on Thursday, so it didn't really matter. But in a real kind of scenario where you would have had a game, it would have just been a really kind of weird flow. Say we were close, right? He plays a bunch of guys on Thursday, then I play all my guys on Sunday, and then he plays all his guys. Like it's not kind of that back and forth you're used to, like kind of watching the score go up and creep up at the same time. And I think Thursday night football in general has kind of lost its luster on me. With 3 kids, I can't watch Thursday night football a lot of times, right? I can't watch,
especially when half the points are going to be scored on you in the fourth quarter.
I was up that night because you guys kept texting and blowing up the thread or whatever. Wayne's guaranteed to win, and until I wasn't. So
yeah, I mean, I don't think I've ever seen that many points scored in one quarter. It was 87 points for a team in one quarter.
It was ugly,
or almost 87, not quite. But
all these games being postponed because of these COVID situations. Actually, I'm a little worried because I'm going against Nick in a league, another league here. I'm currently down by 2.5 or 2.4. I have 2 more players. Well, I had Chris Godwin tonight. He got hurt, so that helped. But I have 2 more guys. I should win, right? No problem. I'm only down 2.4. I have Antonio Gibson and Miles Sanders going. What if everyone gets COVID and those games get canceled or something? Like what if they come down with COVID that Tuesday?
No COVID rules in that league?
Well, I kind of just made them today.
This is the lead, you're the dictator.
So it's going to be real legit. Nick is not going to get the short end of the stick on that one.
Yeah, it feels perfectly fine.
I get to pick the high knobs. Basically, the COVID rules would be if one of those two, if somebody in tomorrow or Tuesday's games comes down, all of a sudden it's a COVID designation. Because in this league, we don't have, in any of these leagues, we can't just pick up off the waiver wire. So you have to do a separate pickup, but we can pick up a player from basically the same team, another.
But also, I'm also commissioner. So you don't have total say.
Well, I made that rule myself here.
Yeah, but I'm co-commissioner of both of those leagues, the Dynasty and the League.
Knowing Craig, I would check again. It's like this morning cut you off.
Nick, John was too scared to come on tonight. Didn't want to face you.
No, he didn't want to jinx himself for next week.
I would have liked to see him on here. I think he's scared of you, actually.
Why would he be scared?
I don't know. It seems like
just a guy filming this. It looks like in a dark room, like he's about to kidnap John.
I'm in my truck
outside of John's house, and
exactly what's going on.
I'm just sitting around. No, I have a child sleeping, and Craig, could you podcast at your house?
I'm in my garage.
It's your child.
My garage
correct?
would be very cold. I don't want to freeze.
Yeah, I have a heater going. That's how I record. Is when me and Jeff record remote. I'm in the garage sitting here recording. It's a good time.
Right, because you couldn't be in the house and the truck.
That's true. It would be tough I don't really have a space to do it there. But
all right, so Jeff, how do you feel about this punishment?
What do you mean? How so?
You did accept that you would take the punishment as well. It's written down in text.
It is written in text.
Read that again, because there's a very long thread, obviously, that goes into that. But everyone's freaking out because one of my guys was ruled out. So I couldn't do a full one. And I was like, if this affects it, whatever.
What time? Was it the first time you didn't roster a full roster or the second time?
Well,
Oh, okay.
look,
I
thank
I
God
I
neither
just
of them
trying to
actually
get your
affect. I won both.
excuses right.
I won both.
I want to
of
get your
those weeks.
excuses straight.
I won both.
You'd
But yeah, I
expect more
said,
out of a guy
hey,
on a
that's no big
podcast.
deal. You can fix it if you want. You can do whatever you want, and I'll do the punishment then. And then everyone was like, no, it's not a big deal. And
No,
then
nobody
I ended
said
up-
no to the punishment.
I also won, and it didn't matter at all. And then Craig went on to lose 3 in a row, so Zach got in anyway.
But Jeff, what you
Actually,
had
I
said
don't
was-
see any disclaimers in this. I just see it says, "I will do the punishment with Nick." That's all it says.
No, you picked
no,
out
he
one
said-
sentence.
No, but you said if you
Assuming
finish
Nick
within
finishes
one
last.
game of me.
Yeah.
It's really easy. I can search for the word punishment. Here, let's.
All right. Well, no,
I don't see any- I don't
will
see any
reread that.
disclaimers
If
in
that
this.
is, we will do it together, hand in hand. And actually, it's not a
no,
bad
Jeff.
punishment.
Jeff, I expected more from you, but I mean, if you're a John, you're a John.
First off,
First
who
of all,
cares
it's just
about
hurtful.
punishment? Nobody fucking does punishments in this league anymore. So
Also kind of true.
it's bullshit, but whatever. Seems I had sand in my pants.
Nick made an entire Christmas album.
Yeah, are you kidding me? I have the worst punishment of all time. This thing lives on forever.
It's the
By
If it
far
ever
the
gets
best
me
one.
strikes, I'm in trouble.
It's on SoundCloud if anybody wants it. Oh, geez.
Oh, here we go. Finally.
Jonathan Walagora. Give the people what they want.
I was saying stuff to John that Nick was calling him out. It wasn't really happening, but I was.
Is John sober?
Maybe we'll find out. We'll find out if he is this week or not. He's connecting to audio. John's gonna be in the fantasy championship next week.
Hey everyone, how you guys doing?
He's back.
I'm back.
All these people, all the listeners were hoping you would lose.
No, they weren't. They loved me.
Exactly why they wanted you to lose.
Who do we got here? Who's all in here?
Oh, we got myself and Jeff and Wayne and Nick.
Where the fuck's Nick at? Let's see.
John, go to that front window.
I kept joking he was parked outside your house.
Wasn't a joke.
It was only a short 12-hour ride to get there. He wore a
Joke's on-
diaper.
Joke's on you. I got into Michigan last night, so that would have sucked for you.
I know.
They both came to sabotage each other.
What are we talking about? Have we been talking about my team?
We not really. We did say that it looks like you're gonna win, maybe, I guess, unless you have negative points tomorrow night.
Yeah, well, I'll win tonight with Godwin being out. But I think overall, I think Dave has I still think Dave has the stronger team.
Are you a little scared?
Of course.
I mean, his team's about to put up 180. I'd be scared.
Yeah, there's a lot of pressure. A lot of pressure.
You got 2 weeks though. You get 2 weeks. Actually, that might make it even harder because he could have 1 week where he just goes nuts. I don't know. I'd be worried if I were you.
He could have Kamara. Kamara could score 6 touchdowns or something. I think that happened last year for him. So
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. 1 week would be worse for Johnny, but 2, I think it's still on you. But after watching what KC did, that is a little worrisome. But
yeah, I think I'm in like the 1,900 points on the season, and Dave's in like 1,500 range. And I'm like, if I lose this, I'm gonna be pissed. It's gonna suck.
Greatest team of all time and might not even win a championship. We don't know yet.
It is 1,964 points for John and 1,569 for.
It is kind of ridiculous how good this team. I'm not even joking when I say that this is probably the greatest team we've ever seen in this league. But it was all luck anyway. There was nothing to do with the manager of the team. But still,
Well, if he was good, he'd be good in Dynasty.
I just have fun with that league.
Oh yeah, I'm sure that's a lot of fun. Losing every single game. You've won like 7 games in 11 years.
I looked at one point today and I had 28 points, and I was like, buy some more.
well, I guess the one good thing you got going for you in that is you have Jeff's first round pick, and Jeff is moving on. Looks like
I'm
in
gonna
the
get
toilet
you that
bowl.
number one pick, man.
Do
I
it,
thought
buddy,
I thought I was going to be in the
away.
playoffs. I'm hitting my stride at the right time.
Give me that number one overall pick, and I'm going to trade it away so quickly.
yeah, you give that away for kick it down
You'll
the road.
probably just trade it back to Jeff for Jeff's number one pick next year.
I'll give you, after watching Najee tonight, maybe I'll give him back to you.
Yeah. Can we just I don't know if you mentioned this yet. How in the world did you let me ramble for like an hour last week? That must have been hell and torture for you guys. So I apologize.
Didn't get too many negative comments about it.
People love me.
Nick, did you tune in? Did you listen to the show?
No. Once I heard John was on it for an hour, I said, absolutely not.
It was a good time. But
Sure for some.
it would have been much better, though, if you had lost this week, John. That's what I was hoping for. But
yeah, I don't think I would have joined if I had lost.
It'll probably just make it even more painful now if you do lose. You get there, you get right to the end. I hope it's in the second week of the championship. It comes down to the last night, and it's like a fourth quarter loss. Ultimate pain.
I won't be with family that second week. I'll be back in Maryland, so at least I'll be like in my own house where I can curse and be pissed off and not like ruin my mom's Christmas or something like that. So that'll be good.
Yeah, but you can't bet against the other players. And when you're in Michigan right now, I mean, you can make bets against the players you're playing against. So even when you lose, you win.
I am like I must have made probably 20 some bets today on FanDuel. This thing or DraftKings, one of them. Who sponsors you guys? Who should I be using?
None yet.
But no, man, this is fun as hell. Like, it's great. I love it.
Yeah, I lost a lot of money today on DraftKings. It was great.
I won $40, which I'm not nothing to brag about, but hey, it beats 3 hours in front of the TV buying like $3 bets. That was fun as hell.
I'm gonna lose tonight, I believe, on my 44 yards over for Leonard Fournette because he is now hurt. Let me see here.
Leonardo.
He is hurt and he only ran for 34. I needed 10 more yards. Oh, dang it.
I believe that's Nick's favorite fantasy player of all time.
Leonard Fournette?
Leonardo Fournette, yeah.
That's right.
He Nick, let's see if you got any. You probably still don't have any points this week, even though it doesn't count for anything. Oh, you're up to 17 now.
11.6 the last time I looked.
Now you have 17. Sunday night, you have 17 points.
Hey, I have a question for John.
Yeah.
Hey, John, do you recall, did Jeff agree to do the punishment with me?
Of course, yeah.
Oh, okay. Because he was just trying to say he didn't agree to it.
No. We found it in text, and I screenshotted it, so Jeff has to do it now.
It's been determined. Yeah.
First of all, I said take the action to put Crowder in his lineup to make it fair to Coleman, and I'll do the punishment with Nick.
Hey, there was nothing that said if I lose, if I win, or if I lose.
Anything, and I still won.
But there's no disclaimers in that.
What are you talking about? Literally do this to make it fair, and then I'll just go ahead and forego and do the punishment. No, what do you mean there's nothing there?
I think the league should vote on
history.
I think the league should vote on it.
Oh no, they'll get soft.
I don't know, man. That'd be an execution.
In this league. Oh my gosh, this is the softest league ever.
Hey, did you watch Zach throw tomatoes?
Hey, Nick,
God, that was scary.
Nick, have you done your punishment? Speaking of soft,
no. You guys never decided on anything. I'm supposed to pick my punishment.
You're supposed to go to
to be fair, that is fair because COVID kind of ruined that one very quickly.
Me with a single concert ever.
Well, we couldn't when COVID had just began. That would have been like, we want to razz you, we don't want to kill you.
Fair, but you guys
speak for yourself.
Yeah.
But you guys are saying it's my fault when it's clearly not.
Yeah, it's kind of true. I mean, what kind of concert are we even going to pick here? I still haven't figured out.
Back in the day, we were going to give him like go to the Wiggles or something.
No,
go to a Kiss concert.
Blippy.
Oh yeah,
I'm
definitely.
not going to get arrested. Oh, actually, now I have a son. I can take it. This is
Yeah, you could. There you go. It's not as creepy anymore.
Yeah.
No, but I have to go
We
by
just
myself.
waited
That's
for
the
you to
whole
do
point.
that. Well, yeah, we don't want to make you go to a
I have to
concert
go by
now.
myself. I can't get arrested. That's even creepier now.
Nick, will you just? It's not so much of a punishment, but you'll have to hang out with me. Will you just come to a Dave Matthews concert with me?
Sounds like a punishment.
What's Blippy? I'm kidding, John.
Yeah, we need more long-lasting punishments though, like Nick's Christmas album. That's the best kind of punishment.
Well, they just create the music video when it came up a couple times. So
we need that. Shoot, we should recreate. We should have somebody recreate an album of some sort. I just love that stuff.
Actually, to be fair, Walsh did say that. He mentioned it multiple times that you and Mark could do, because Mark owes us one too, doesn't he?
Yeah.
That you two could just do a video together and then call it good.
Right. Music video or something.
Yeah.
Hey, this might be, I mean, we still have a few more days here, but this might be the first Christmas that I haven't heard from Chris about the album.
Oh, sad.
No, I do have to admit, it is by far the best one. When we can record live, it's the best time of year because we will listen to it before every podcast to remind us how much we love this season. and Chris, even though he's no longer in the league, legitimately loved it. Like, not even ironic.
I know. He literally texted me. Like, and he's a genuine guy. I love Chris. Chris is great, and he's dead serious when he texts me. I know he is, and he's like, I've been playing your album in the office. Everyone hates it, but I've been so happy. And I'm like,
dude, you were the best person to do that too, because it was so bad. It was good.
Have you guys played
if he's ever seen somebody slam so many beers so quickly after the first take, and then you tried to auto-tune it, and I sang so bad that you couldn't auto-tune it. I slammed 4 beers in like a minute and a half, and I'm like, fuck it, let's go. Let's hit this Mariah Carey song.
But no,
Craig, have you guys played that on over the air on your podcast?
No, Nick would probably kill us.
No, that was only for the league.
That stays in the league. That stays in the league. I have a family. I can't embarrass him yet.
Can we put up like my Twitter handle or something, and then I post it?
Oh, Nick's not gonna.
No, never.
No, it's just for the league. Yeah.
That thing does have hundreds and hundreds of listens, though.
And it's only from us.
See, it has to be for the league just because if somebody has to make a music video, it has to be for the league.
Yeah.
What kind of music? What music? Did we ever decide on a music video? What the heck was he going to do?
We thought a realistic one to do was Save That Money by Lil Dicky.
But it's so long.
It is very long.
You can, maybe you don't have to do frame for frame, but at least you could do the same kind of thing. Otherwise, I say Anaconda by Nicki Minaj, or what would be another good one?
Oops, I Did It Again by Britney Spears.
I haven't heard a single good one.
Any Britney Spears would be good.
Turn Down for What? Isn't that the one that's like kind of ridiculous?
Yeah, that's a new hip one.
Yeah, it's not that new.
I was gonna say, you can tell that Nick is a dad now.
Yeah, that's
what was the video that James had that it was just a bottomless and topless man just staring into a camera for like 4 minutes?
That was just James sending you a good night text. Do you like it better when my shirt's off or when I'm doing the Winnie the
Pooh? All right, I'll find out what that was, and then when I make my next guest appearance after my championship, I'll let you know.
So I be honest, this year's this punishment this time around it's just not going to last it long, so it's not as exciting to me. It'll be over. Over in a few minutes.
I think that's better for. I think that Nick earned that one.
I don't think Mark's running. Wait, who's got the final punishment?
I mean, Nick.
I took the punishment for $30 in Jamar Chase. I'll take it.
Yeah.
Nick. Okay. He's got to do a mile in a few minutes. Okay.
Yeah. Beer mile.
I waited out just like the album. I didn't think the album would go quite as bad as it did, but I waited out just the same.
What did you get out of that one?
I can't remember it. Trust me, that one was not as good.
Yeah, it didn't work out because he didn't win anything after. So
yeah,
that's true. Didn't help.
We all won.
We did. We definitely did.
Probably I spent my money on Adrian Peterson and then he beat the shit out of his kid. I mean,
there was a few of them, to be fair.
That did actually happen too.
Yeah, that was. Yeah,
no, it did. I spent $72 on him, and then he beat the shit out of him, and then he didn't play, and I lost the first 4 games of the season. It was.
And Nick is very upset because he couldn't play Adrian Peterson.
They should have just let him play, right?
The biggest crime of that whole thing.
My fantasy team suffered.
I'm upset at my luck. It has nothing to do with that.
Yeah, I mean, speaking of, you had really. I want to rag on you because you haven't been that good in the league recently. But this year you got incredibly unlucky with the amount of points that you put up, and you just had the worst luck ever for matchups.
Yeah, that's been tough. Sorry to cut you off, Chuck. That's been tough. But that league, I haven't even cared about it because in the dynasty, I went 10-5. I was the number 1 team, or 10-4, whatever. In the league, I'm the number 2 team. I mean, that league's an afterthought. I mean, we have 2 different teams that didn't even start a full roster this season, you included. I mean, how serious is that league if we have 2 teams that separately just didn't even decide to start everybody? That's crazy.
Well, to be fair, I will say I didn't do it on purpose. I
don't know if that makes it better.
I mean, come on. Tony got, right before the cutoff, we have waivers on Saturday. It did force us to have an entire discussion about Sunday waivers, and I still won that week. So I don't feel too bad about it, but I understand your point.
All right. But yeah, it's been brutal because that's the league, obviously, I care the most about, even though I push it down deep inside. Yeah, it's been rough. It's been rough being the 2nd or 3rd highest scorer and losing week after week.
I think you did outscore me this year in that league.
I want to talk about it.
You actually did. You outscored me, which is crazy.
Yeah.
Sometime little brothers grow up.
And now I have to run until I puke from drinking nasty beer. So this is going to be fun.
Well, you can choose what kind of beer you drink. That's not, that shouldn't be a problem.
I get to choose? Oh, this is perfect.
No. First, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th place get to choose a beer. That was the rule.
First of all, I don't think that was. I mean, if you can pull that up, I'm more power to you. But that's going to be like Cobra malt liquor.
It was absolutely the rule.
Said Coke 45.
I don't think it's written down anywhere. Where are we doing this at? Like, when is this happening?
We're going to do
Philadelphia.
Philadelphia?
Oh God.
It's in Philadelphia, and the last quarter mile is when you run up the steps to the Rockies.
Actually, that would be a great.
Philly it is. Draft destination decided.
Yeah, but can I get arrested for drinking a beer on the street?
Well,
no.
You have to conserve your lungs so you can run from the cops as well.
Hey, Las Vegas it is, I guess.
Yeah, right.
This isn't Toledo. I mean, I have a family. I can't just walk home in the dark and hopefully I get there.
Yeah, you did. You were the last one back that night.
No, Chris was.
Oh, Chris was. Never forgot. Never mind.
I'll never forget that day.
Toledo.
There's much of it I don't remember.
What a great destination. We have
what do you do right after college? It was the finest establishment we could afford back then.
All right, so I joined this thing. Can you guys at least ask me some questions about like advice for your viewers or something? I know they're waiting. So
we got like 4 minutes left before we run out of time here. We have a time limit. John, how did you draft such an amazing team this year?
It takes a lot of guile, stoicism, knowledge, and craft and skill.
Ask him a real question. I can't listen to him anymore.
That's about it.
How'd you get lucky and get Debo Samuel and Cooper Kupp both?
That was I spent $20-some on Kupp. That was no fluke.
What about Debo?
Debo was a little more. So my actually, I'll throw this little tidbit out there. I drafted Debo Samuel and Brandon Ayuk, and I drafted Marvin Jones and Shenault. And I said, we have a pretty deep bench. We can fill 8 spots. And I said, okay, I need one of these pairs of guys to break out. And, and I had some other receivers that I thought would fill my 1 and 2 spot, one being Cooper Kupp. And I thought Julio Jones would maybe step up, but he did not. So I just needed either Ayuk or Debo or Shenault or Marvin Jones to be my 3. And it turned out that Debo Samuel was like my 1B or 1A, however you want to look at it, with Cooper Kupp. It was all a strategy. Whether I was drunk when I was doing it or not does not matter, but it was a strategy.
Mm-hmm. See if you can pull this off again next year.
I usually do. I'm usually in the playoffs.
I don't know if that's true.
Craig, have you made the playoffs the last 2 years?
Oh, fighting words. He comes up firing.
COVID.
I think, yeah, we're going to call that. I think
I won the division
now
last year.
after this year, John, it's going to be close, but I think John might leapfrog me for the second most overall wins in the league because he's been killing it the last few years.
No, he's not. I don't think he's close to you. I don't think he's close to you. No.
Okay.
I don't think he is. Let me see. I thought
he was very close.
I'm open right now.
I mean, I can't believe I ended up winning 5
John
games this
has
year, but
60 wins going into this year. Craig had 80.
He was behind you a little bit.
Oh, I guess I thought it was going to be worse, but he did have a crazy good year. Obviously,
this was his 6th playoff appearance of all time.
Solid.
Still have a ways to go. I have 10. So
I'm catching pretty rapidly.
I don't know rapidly.
I gained 2 spots in the last 2 years. You're falling apart.
I've still never been below 500. I don't know what that's like. You can tell me about that.
I like how. No, I want to give you credit on the playoff appearances, but as soon as you start going down the rabbit hole of like, at least I haven't been below 500, you just keep on lowering the standards. Like, know what? Soon it'll be like, know what? I've never gone winless. I wonder how that felt.
That's true.
I got invited to a real fantasy podcast. I'm going to be on Matthew Berry's ESPN Fantasy Focus Football tomorrow. So everybody tune in and get some real advice from a real fantasy focused analysis.
Okay.
Hey, I thought James was going to be on. What happened? Is he going to lose?
I think so.
Really
he's beating me. He's beating me in one league.
I worked 12 hours today. I have no idea. I've not paid any attention.
Joe was going to jump on as well. I wanted to have a little Joe and Robbie showdown after Joe just trashed him last week, but we didn't get that.
You might get him. Other than that, nah.
But all right, we got 1 minute left, so we got to wrap it up. We got to end this thing. So they give us a time limit these days. I don't enjoy this. So that's it. John goes to the championship, 2-week championship starting next week.
Wayne, what about Wayne? Is Wayne in?
Wayne is not.
Goodbye podcast. Goodbye season.
I knew he wasn't in. I just wanted to hear it.
So rough, so mean. John, it's going to be brutal when you lose. Sorry.
Go Eagles.
It's going to suck. But all right, that's it. I'm going to close this thing out. Talk to you guys tomorrow.
Bye, Nick.
Bye.